Hello YouTubers, welcome back. Project I want to do for you this week is this bowl. I rough turned this probably about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. Some beautiful colour in there, some lovely grain pattern. I think it's about time I turned it into a bowl. So as you can see, there was a big crack in there. I think that's why I stopped turning it. You can see I filled that with a resin, and I've got a tenon on there, but that's probably dried quite a bit and warped, so I probably just need to return that. So just a simple little bowl, but I think that is going to be quite attractive. I think that's a lovely colour on there. So that's our project for this week. So I've sharpened my chisel. I've got the lathe running at 1300. Now I thought that would have warped as that dried, but that's running very good. So we only probably need just a very light cut just to trim that up. Not quite touched it around there. I'm getting a lot of chatter as it's hitting that as well. It needs to come down a little bit more. Take another cut across there. Very good, I'm quite pleased with that. Well, I've gone through, I've sanded that all down, sanded that through to 600 grit, and you can see I haven't put anything on there already, and that cherry has polished up lovely. I'd give it quite a good inspection as I went through, and I was a bit disappointed because there were some very deep scratches in there. You could just see the lines running around. I guess where the wood's so hard it picked up a piece of grit that got caught in the abranet, and it just ran through. So I now need to go through and sand it all down again. I don't often let you watch me sanding, but I will this time as a treat for you. It's important. Abranet that I use is very good sandpaper. It's one of the top quality ones you can buy. So I've sped this up somewhat. You can see the grits I'm using. I've started off with a 120, I used 180, 240, 320, 400 and a 600. So I just worked my way up through the grits, just gradually getting it smoother and smoother. I'll then move on. I have a look at that, just give it inspection, just make sure there are no other scratches in there, and I'm quite happy with it. And I then move on to sanding sealer. I use a chestnut cellulose sanding sealer for this, only because really it dries a lot quicker. There's no hanging about in between, it dries almost straight away. A cherry is so hard it hardly soaked in at all, it just really sat on the surface. So once I'd covered that, buffed it all up, I then went in, used Hampshire sheen, their high gloss wax, just to give it a nice finish. And I have to say that cherry did polish up lovely. I'll sharpen my chisel. I have slowed the speed down on that a little bit because cherry is very hard wood to turn, so I don't want that ripping through there. And we'll just get to hollowing the bowl now. Is hard of an oak. I think I'm going to sharpen all three of my chisels up, and I'm going to put a Forstner bit down through there. I'll get back to you in a minute. Well, I've been in, I've sharpened all three of my chisels. I've drilled the middle out with a Forstner bit. The advantage that gives you is the middle piece spins so slowly. I've got the lathe running at about 1200 revs per minute, and obviously that outside is probably spinning around at something like close to 40 miles an hour as it comes round. But of course, as you get to the middle, that's turning very, very slowly. And where that wood is so hard, it takes a long time to turn it away. And it's just so difficult to do. And if you just drill the middle out, it is cheating really. But it just gives you such an advantage really for taking it down through. It makes life a lot easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a bit of music on this and just let you watch me hollow the rest of this bowl. The other problem that I do have with this is where I filled that with an epoxy resin. I think that's not helping, that's blunting my tools very quickly. I think as that's coming round and it's catching my chisel, and I think it's taking the edge off very, very quickly. As you can see, I've turned the majority of the wood away from the bowl, and I'm just checking with my finger and thumb just to make sure I've got a nice even thickness all the way down through. I do need a bit more of a finishing cut just to clear it all up. That knot at the bottom of that bowl, it is giving me all sorts of problems because as my chisel comes down through, it hits that knot and then it wants to make the chisel bounce up, and then the trouble is when the chisel then comes down again, it's trying to cut a gouge on the opposite side of the bowl. So you really do have to have very good tool control, otherwise you end up with these massive grooves all around the bottom of the bowl. So I'm almost there. I'm almost there now. I can just feel nice even thickness all the way down through. And I just need a couple of clean-up cuts across the bottom of the bowl. Oh, there we go, YouTube, all sanded. All the way through to 600. a nice finishing already. I'll just put sander sealer on there. Now a bit of wax. Nice even coating of that. Then nice clean bit of cloth. And we'll just buff that up. And you can see the beautiful shine inside of there. So the light reflecting off of that. Beautiful. Well, there we go, YouTubers. A very pretty cherry bowl. Some lovely grain figuration in there, and like a little cherry, it shines up beautiful. Really nice project. Well, there we go, YouTube world. Very pretty piece. I'm really pleased with that. There's some beautiful grain pattern in there. It's really nice. As I say, it's been set up on my shelf up there for probably around 4 years. So I'm glad I finally got on and finished that. I'm ever so pleased with that. I think that really is a lovely piece of wood. So, there we go, YouTubers. I've been Steve Howe. And again, when I can turn something like that in my workshop, that's a great day for me. It really is. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.